Hey, what's up, Dean? Sear Performance. We're at the shop today. It's a little chilly. Kind of odd to say in Florida in middle of February, but it's actually really nice out. It's like in the 50s. And we've got Salvador's C10 pretty far underway. Um, I'll do an update on this pretty soon, but I also brought the Monte Carlo back over. So I believe in the previous video I got all the exhaust done, the drive shafts in, I got the return line in, and then I did the filter with the little line going to the pump. I was just waiting on some intake fittings, which are now here. Waiting on the Holley kit, which came in, and you can kind of see right there the chrome foil heat tape. That is the crank sensor. So I got the Holley kit all in. I'm gonna let it down real quick. Hold on. All right. So I got the regulator in place last time. There's kind of wires going everywhere, but I've got the Terminator X in. I decided to mount it on the firewall, or the inner fender here, because the transmission harness, so where the stock ECU lines come out, are way down under there. And the way the transmission harness came across and kind of looped across the header to the frame and then up inside, I would have had to come up and over to keep it away from the header enough, and it just kind of left a huge bundle of that harness, because it's really long harness. So as you can see, it comes all the way from this side, comes all the way up, comes all the way over, and there's still a little bit of a loop right here, which, you know, is fine. I'm not 100% on that, but I wanted to mount the fuses and relays in a good spot. So I drilled and tapped the fender, and that kind of tucked both harnesses kind of equally, because even the engine harness, if I had gone into the firewall, there was a big loop, and my initial intention was to mount the ECU in the kick panel there, and you can see the interior lights are on now. But again, it just left a big bundle, and there's not a lot of room to kind of take the bundle and go up. All the heater box and everything is there, so it just left a big wiring bundle in there, and two big wiring bundles in there, and I didn't really want to do that. So I tried to keep it neat, tucked. Obviously I got to do a lot more wiring, but I got the ignition wires hooked up. I got to feed this one to the battery. The green one that's over there goes to fuel pump. This is another battery. So I've got to get those hooked up, and then the Holley is basically 100% wired as far as getting the car running. The wideband's all plugged in. I have to do the inputs and outputs for the electric fan, two-step, and there was something else. Okay, sorry about that little interruption, but yeah, like I was saying, I got to do the inputs, outputs, fans, two-step, and then the other thing I was trying to think of was the dashboard. Not that any of those inputs or outputs come to the dashboard, but I have to. So I have the light switch plug here, like from the factory, and then this is like maybe the rear defroster or something. Yeah, So that's for the rear defroster. And then we have the original cluster harness, which I have to pick through and grab like the turn signal wires, and whatever else is in here that I would need, fuel gauge, all that good stuff. I believe that might be all I need is the left turn, right turn, and the fuel gauge. That might be all I need out of this harness, which I'll most likely just leave the plug in this case, and kind of figure out a way to wrap it and tuck it behind the dashboard, because we have the Holley bezel for this car here, and this is the back side, so this sits in here like that, and then it gets the front half that sits on here like this. I'm not gonna set on there all the CAN bus stuff, so all that sits there. And I already mounted the defroster switch right there, and then I have the light switch over here. I have to cut the hole for the AC vent, but I got the dash mounted in there. I have the input and output harness right there. This is the plug that you get the other half to, and then you build inputs and outputs for whatever you want to monitor extra on the screen, and you could do touch button on the screen. So I'm going to do all the blinkers through that, the fuel gauge through that, and the speedometer will be on here all through the CAN bus, which I have right here. I already routed it through the firewall where there was an old whatever came out of the firewall. I stuck it through there. But I also did the transmission linkage, the shifter cable that comes down. That was a little bit shorter. I mean, to me it was a little bit shorter, so I had to kind of make a different bracket to hook up to the cable underneath on the side of the transmission, so it didn't really tug so hard on it. But I believe that works now, and I got the car. You can hear the buzzer for the key, and then you can hear the motor turn over. There's no plugs in the motor right now, because this isn't a motor I supplied for Joey. It's a motor he brought, so I do want to crank it over a bunch, get oil pressure up, and then I'll put the plugs in it, put the plug wires on, do all that. But I have the shifter working. I think it's missing something. Yeah, it's missing a clip in the front here. I can't really say the way I'm holding this phone. Right there, that slot. It's missing a clip, which I'm going to look for. I just noticed it yesterday, because every time you push the button, it raises the shift handle. Let me see. You can kind of see how it raises the shift handle, and then it doesn't engage the lock. So you have to kind of push down and then shove on it. So I want to find the little clip that goes in there. So I'm happy that I got the factory shifter working. That's one thing that's kind of different about us, well, me, is we try and keep everything as factory as we can. Obviously with a big Holley dash, it's not going to be real factory, but it's going to look sick. But having a factory shifter, like the C10, I did the factory column shifter. This C10, it's going to have the factory column shifter. Unless they want a floor shifter, I try and keep everything as factory as I possibly can. Even fixed his dome light. Just had to move the bulb a little bit. But, all those things work. So there's not a whole lot left to do. The biggest thing is going to be the AC. Building all the new lines for the new system to adapt to the old system. Getting it wired in the right way. And then I have to build a shroud. Well, I don't have to. I'm going to build a shroud for the fan And what I'm thinking is I'm actually going to bend it to come up and over the top of the radiator so that I can utilize like the factory mounting tabs and the upper supports, which are built into the old factory plastic mechanical fan shroud. You can see how they're built into it right here. So what I want to do is take these, pop these off. They got these little nipples that stick through and hold them in. So I want to try and utilize something, you know, like that also holds the fan. So if ever you need to take the fan out, you would undo like this bolt here and that bolt over there, and then 2 bolts along the top, and the fan would come out as one assembly, and then you could pull the radiator straight out. I think that would be kind of neat feature to use, or to do, but we'll see. I kind of started putting some radiator hose stuff together to kind of get an idea on what I need to order for the radiator hose. So I took a bunch of old hose I had and cut a bunch of basically 90s out of it, and then kind of a 45 I think is the one. I think that's kind of what I had. It seems like I had something different, but maybe not. But actually, yeah. So I used that. It needs a 90, but I can get a hose for that. The upper is going to be a little bit different because I have to do I still have to do an intake for it. So what I may do with the upper is kind of use one of those universal flex. I may use it for the bottom too. I think I have one over there on the shelf, so I may try and use that for the bottom. The upper I might have to order one. I hate these truck water pumps, but kind of is what it is. I mean, the other thing to do would be to order the other water pump where the neck is over here, but I don't want to interfere with any of the pulleys or anything, and I think those interfere with this idler pulley. Not that I'm a fan of those brackets. I actually can't stand those brackets, but it's what we have. I got the belt on it too. So I'm gonna try to do the intake kind of. I might come down and go across and have the filter over here. Filter over here, kind of come low, and then kind of sweep up into it, and then that way I can keep the hose, either route the hose kind of up and over, something, figure something out. I may have to do something weird with that. I also have the steam port I have to do, which I can do right into this fitting here. I just have to get I think it's 1/2 inch MPT down to like 1/4 inch barb, and that'll be that. I have the transmission fittings in. These are actually steering fittings, and for the life of me, I don't remember. I tightened them in already. Don't remember what size they are. It might be a quarter 20 inverted flare to 6AN. I can't remember, but that might be what this is. That might be what this one is. M1010 metric, but for some reason I know it's an inverted flare, but anyways, they're ICT billet. Yeah, these are ICT billet makes these, so it adapts it right into the old style radiator, which is cool. And then the only other thing I have to check is if this leaks right here. I thought this was from the cap leaking, and I hope it is, but we'll have to look into that. Yeah, I mean, that's it for the Monte Carlo. I gotta jump off for a couple of days to finish up a couple of aerial things we have over there. right there. I have to jump off just for a couple of days, but I have a bunch of stuff. Here's the fan for the Monte Carlo. It's a big Cyclone 16-inch fan, kind of what I used on the Cutlass. So that one will work on that, and then I also have I have another one right there, Cyclone, big 16-inch for the 63. I have to make a shroud for that one. Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff going on. Finally, parts are starting to come in. I just got notified that the intake elbow for the blue S10, Jeff's S10, Dimebag S10, I don't know, Pollo, Booyah. The intake elbow shipped, so that'll be here. And then we have a new tool coming. It'll actually be here tomorrow. So that'll be super exciting. And if you watched, the Capri went out and made really, really good hits. So that car is coming along. We're getting them out, and we are going to have a fleet of cars soon to be at Bradenton. So, and we'll post up when we're going to go, who's going, and we'll invite everybody to come out and hang out with us. But for now, that's it for this video. I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, share the channel, leave me a comment. As always, have a good day.